Hi, my name is Julia from Florida, and I have a special gift. I can see the beauty in everything. Before I continue, please like and subscribe. Growing up, I was the wildest kid ever. I liked to swim around in mud puddles, collect bugs, and make strange new friends. Hey, Mom, this is my new friend Bacon, my friend Spot, Mr. Muffin. Mom thought I was a nutcase. I got along well with Dad, who was a painter. But he and Mom were always arguing since she didn't think an art career was a real career. One day, Mom told Dad to leave. When I was 6, my mom snuck me into work with her because she was too cheap to pay for a babysitter. Honey, be quiet and play with your dolls. I pulled a tube of bright red lipstick out of Mom's purse and used it to draw on a stack of papers. Look, Mom, rainbows! Mom threw a fit. Then her boss walked in, saw me and the ruined papers, and fired my mom on the spot. Mom found a new job a couple of days later, but ever since then, she became obsessed with saving money. My mom was the cheapest person ever, and every day she found new, insane ways to avoid spending money. Food sat in the refrigerator well past its expiration date. It's still good, just eat around the green stuff. She rationed the toilet paper, recycled the plant water. Mom, we can't drink that. Everything that comes from the earth is healthy. I love Earth. You know, I almost wanted to name you Earth, but your jerk dad thought it was a stupid idea. Man, the stupid idea was to marry him. Mom's cheap schemes got us both in trouble, and to make matters worse, she'd force me to go on playdates with her rich friends' snotty kids so she could impress their parents, but her plan never worked. It also didn't help that I had to wear dingy old clothes my mom bought at a yard sale. Kids at school heard me for that. The only distraction I had from my crazy home life was my best friend Eric from art class. He was well off, unlike me, but a bit different like me. It's just so beautiful. The determination, the dedication. I know. One day in ninth grade, I was studying in the library and Eric ran up to me. He told me about a summer art program for advanced students that could lead to a coveted spot in an exclusive art college. Then suddenly, one of the meanest girls in school was walking near and heard us. She said, "I'll never understand why you hang out with this loser. She's not going to college. Look at her clothes. She's a total weirdo." Don't listen to her, Julia. You have great talent. The sky's your limit. This is really sweet, Eric, but I don't know if I'll be able to go to an art college. Mom won't like it, but painting is your passion. I told Eric about my dad, the artist, and how his painting job led to my parents' divorce. Eric tried to convince me to reconsider, but I wouldn't change my mind. A few weeks later, I received an acceptance letter in the mail from the program. I was shocked because I never applied. Then Eric told me what he did. "I applied for you. Isn't it amazing? I got accepted too." "Julia, where the heck are you?" "How could you do this? You know how my mom is. Are you trying to get me in trouble?" "For goodness sake, turn off those lights. Electricity isn't free." No. Listen, I didn't mean to. No, you listen. I understand you meant well, but my mom would have a fit if I went to some random art college. I have to get a degree that I can use to make money. Money isn't everything. Julia! I gotta go. A few nights later, I came home and my mom greeted me at the door, jumping up and down like a maniac. She dragged me into the house. "Honey, I spoke to one of my rich friends about you and got you accepted to an internship this summer." Internship? She showed me a brochure for a summer math and science internship at a fancy university. "You're gonna make a great doctor or lawyer or scientist." I must admit, I was worried about you for a second. You were such a peculiar child, and since you used to paint, I thought you'd turn out like your deadbeat dad. But you turned things around, and now you're focused on what's important. Money and making us rich. I'm so proud of you, honey. I've never loved you more than this moment. I didn't mention anything about the art program. I didn't want to upset Mom. Later that evening, I was studying in my room, and I heard a crashing sound coming from the kitchen. I found Mom at the table with my piggy banks. "What are you doing?" "Consider it a down payment for what you owe me for all those years of taking care of you. I'm going to buy myself some expensive jewelry to celebrate." "But I was saving that money to pay for college." "You can get a job. Plenty of college kids do. And another thing, I've decided you'll be a cosmetic surgeon. Then you'll buy us a mansion and maybe even a summer home on a tropical island. And I'll need a new wardrobe. I'll be the richest woman in the neighborhood. Oh, I've written it all down here. Now, go back to your studies. I have to get ready for my date. And be a dear and clean this up." Then she just left, and all of a sudden, my blood ran cold. I spent my whole life trying to make that witch happy. And now she intended to control every aspect of my life so she could live the life of her dreams. I'd had enough. I logged onto my laptop and accepted my invitation to the art program. I never got the nerve to tell Mom that I decided to go to the summer art program instead of the math and science internship, so I lied. Eric and I had a blast at the summer art program. We were in our element. We had our own dorm rooms and painted all day. One night, Eric walked me home from a party and it was freezing. Eric put his arm around me and pulled me close. My heart fluttered, and suddenly I wanted to kiss him. What was I thinking? Eric's my BFF. I couldn't do that. What if he didn't feel the same? I couldn't risk it. I think I better go. It's getting late. One afternoon, I was working at my part-time job at the bookstore, and the handsomest boy I'd ever seen walked into the store. I couldn't stop staring at his dreamy brown eyes. Then he turned towards me, and I slipped, banged into a display case, and a dozen books fell all over the floor. Are you okay? I felt like an idiot. I'm fine. Maybe not the ground. Maybe I broke it. In case I did, you'd have to pay for the damage. I'm poor.
Julia, right? I'm Lance.
Lance and I started hanging out, and he was rich. He drove the most expensive car, lived in a huge penthouse, took me to the best restaurants in town, the most popular art galleries, and we had candlelit dinners on the beach. We texted and talked for hours about everything. I bet my mom would be thrilled. Ugh, why did I even still think about her opinion? I even showed him the painting I was working on for my big project. The only other person that had seen it was Eric, and Lance was impressed. As my relationship with Lance grew, I started spending less time with Eric. One night, I was studying when Eric showed up at my door.
What happened? I waited for you for over an hour.
Then it dawned on me. I was supposed to meet Eric at his place to study. I totally forgot. I'm so sorry. I've been busy.
With Lance?
Yeah, he's such a sweet guy. You really should meet him one day. Just as Eric and I sat down to study, Lance showed up with tickets to my favorite band.
The drummer's a friend of mine. They're only in town for one night. We have to leave now or we'll miss it.
I'm sorry, Lance. I have plans with Eric.
I've got front row tickets. Who knows when they'll be in town again? You don't mind, right?
Lance and I went to the concert and had a great time. The next day, I saw Eric after class and he was really upset. What's wrong?
I failed my test.
I'm sorry.
I needed your help and you ditched me. I thought we were best friends.
We are best friends.
Sure doesn't seem like it. You've changed. I don't even recognize you anymore. You ignore my calls. You never want to hang out. And I don't know, but I think you're becoming your mom. Hanging out with someone only because they're rich? He's not even funny. I don't know whether you're a gold digger or just stupid.
Before Eric could finish, Lance appeared out of nowhere.
I don't appreciate the way you're talking to my girlfriend. Oh, really? She's been my best friend way before she was your girlfriend, you jerk. Watch it, or I'll punch you. Oops, did I do that?
Oh my God, stop! Eric tried to punch Lance back, but Lance was stronger. I tried to pull him away, and he finally left with me. He kept apologizing that night and said he was a jealous boyfriend and didn't like seeing me treated badly. I kissed him because I understood him. The way Eric talked to me was awful. The next day, I got a call from my mom. She was getting married to her new rich boyfriend and wanted to invite me to the wedding. Mom was crazy. She didn't even wait until I was back. I took Lance as my date to the wedding. And to my surprise, at the wedding reception, Lance and I were seated at the same table as Eric and his family. The whole night was super awkward as Eric and Lance exchanged death glares across the table. Mom didn't make it any better. She came to our table.
I'm so glad you moved on from Eric. Who's this new boy? Young man, your suit looks expensive, and that car you drive? Mamma mia, you're a keeper. But that doesn't mean you're better than my daughter. She's the best. Julia, you better hold on tight to him.
Everyone looked uncomfortable, especially Eric.
Wait, you had feelings for Eric? No. It's okay. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have asked that. We'll talk later.
I left the table embarrassed. After the wedding, Lance dropped me off at my dorm, but when I stepped inside, I realized someone had broken in. They'd stolen my paintings, several of my art supplies, and a few pieces of expensive jewelry that my grandmother bought me for my birthday. I called the cops immediately, and they started an investigation. The next morning, I couldn't turn in my final project, and I lost my chance at a spot at the art college. A couple of days later, Eric showed up at my door. What are you doing here?
I've been worried about you.
I'm fine.
You need to see this.
He showed me a photo of my painting hanging in an exclusive art gallery several miles away. I contacted the gallery. Oh, that's a special painting. The artist is selling it at an auction tonight. We're expecting it to go for at least $10,000. I couldn't believe it. Someone had stolen my painting and was selling it as their own. I rented a car and drove straight to the gallery. As soon as I walked in the door, I spotted Lance with a mustache and long dark hair. He looked like a totally different person. I marched right up to Lance.
Bonjour, I'm Frederic. Nice to meet you.
Cut the act, Lance. What the heck do you think you're doing? I'm selling my new painting. That's not your painting. It's mine and you know it. You've got one problem, Julia. No one's gonna believe you. Security! Please help! This woman is stalking me! Then a couple of huge security guards grabbed me and threw me out the door. I was devastated. I tried to convince my teacher and the authorities of what Lance did, but no one believed me. Come to find out, Lance lied to me about everything. I didn't even know his real name. I was so depressed I could hardly get out of bed. Then one day, my mom showed up at my dorm to surprise me and discovered that I'd been lying to her about studying art. Shame on you, Julia. I'm so disappointed. You've ruined our plans. Our plans? You mean your plans? You never cared about what I wanted or what made me happy. All you ever cared about was money. And guess what? I don't have any, and I probably never will. You ruined me. You're awful. Get out, now. And the worst thing, I couldn't paint anymore. Every time I tried, I failed. Come on, Julia. Things will get better. My life is over. All because of Lance. He's taken everything from me. He can't take your joy unless you let him. Listen, I never had the chance to apologize about how I'd been acting when that jerk was around. It's okay. I'm your friend, and I love you. Let's now focus on fixing everything. After a while, I started painting again. These are amazing. You need to share them with the world. I don't know. You really like them? I think they're spectacular. Eric put photos of my paintings online, and the photos went viral. Days later, an art agent called me and set up a showing at a gallery, and it was a hit. My dad, my teachers, and several of my classmates were there to congratulate me. Mom didn't show up, but she did like a couple of paintings of mine I posted on Instagram. It wasn't a huge deal, but it was a start. I sold several of my paintings that day and made a ton of money. And Eric and I started dating. A few years later, we graduated college and got married, and our dreams of becoming successful artists came true. I love you, and I'm so proud of you. Too bad they never caught that jerk, Lance. That doesn't matter. Really? Lance hurt me, but I refuse to let him take another second of my joy. I've moved on.
I've let it go. I have my art and I have you by my side. My future is bright. The sky's the limit.